Get Your Goals Challenge process, day one, step one of our confidence goal getting process. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 267 of the Get Your Goals Annual Challenge. Today we're talking about, and for the rest of this month, since we've been focusing on confidence this month, we're going through the goal process that we created together in January of this year. Beginning of the year, we looked at like 15, 20 different goal frameworks, different ways of looking at setting, achieving topics about goals. And then we broke it down according to the life framework. And we've gone through these different areas and aspects of our life with the exception of contribution. We're on confidence right now. We've done all the others. And at the end of each month, we've gone through our goal process for that specific area or aspect of our life. So today we're starting on confidence. And the first step in our process is, of course, the C to D story or the C to D situation. What does that mean? By now, I'd imagine you know what that means. It means what's our current story? What's the story? What's the situation with an area of confidence in our life that we want to probably improve or change? And then what is our desired story? So what's the current story? What's the situation right now? What is versus what do I want it to be? And we've talked about a lot of different storyboarding. We've talked about storyboarding, who, what, where, when, why, and how frameworks. We've talked about several other frameworks for determining and identifying your current or your desired story. I actually looked up a bunch of different ones, bunch of types of ways of telling our story, like the monomyth, which is really the traditional hero's journey, the mountain, nested loops, spark lines, which is when you describe what the reality is and then what the hope is. So that's probably the closest strategy to how I look at and do this particular step of the process. What is right now? That's my current story. What do I want it to be? That's my desired story. And I will usually just put 2 columns on a piece of paper and start bullet pointing out different things about each of the areas. What is and what do I want it to be? What is my level of confidence in this area or aspect of my life or with this particular situation? And then what do I want it to be? How confident am I at work? How do I want it to be? How do I show up in different relationships? How do I want it to be? How do I set boundaries and stand up for myself? Because boundaries are very important to our confidence. How do I want it to be? Etc. So spark lines is probably the closest. In medias res, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but that means you begin with the most action, the most exciting, the most dramatic part of your story. Converging ideas is when you bring different ideas together to form a new idea. False start is when you start something and you realize you're on the wrong road and then you start and you do something else. And then the petal structure is where there's a bunch of topics around one central theme or idea. There's all different other ways of looking at stories too. If you just Google something, it's like information overload. You can find out so much stuff about stuff you don't even want to know that it can get you mired in minutia that's not important, things that aren't important. When I break it down to this particular step of the process, which is the most important step, right? Getting started is the most important thing that we can do. It's what area of my life do I want to see different? And maybe different is just, I don't want to spend as much time and energy worrying or thinking about this thing. Or maybe it's, I absolutely positively want to massively change this thing in my life. And only you know what that is and what the starting point for you is. So today our action item is to pick an area of our life that we want to feel more confident in. And I always like to rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10. Let's say I haven't picked what mine is yet, obviously, or I'd be talking about it and sharing the example. But I have to pick one area, and we're going to pick one area of our life that we want to change how we feel about it with respect to confidence, how we think, how we feel, what we believe, etc. And we have to pick that area first. Then we have to look at and examine, well, what is currently going on with this? Why do I feel this way? Why am I thinking this way? And then what do I ideally want this area and aspect of my confidence in my life to look like? And so that's our action item today. Tell your current story and your desired story. You know, it doesn't have to be a hard activity. We just think about it for a few minutes and we're super honest with ourselves. We're like, this is where I am and this is where I want to be. It can be that simple. And then tomorrow we will hop into step 2 of the process, which is, of course, starting to create a SMART goal around that particular area of confidence that we want to change or improve. All right, any questions about this? Hit me up. There's a write-up, of course, in Guide 17 on the Get Up and Go Challenge private Facebook group page. Otherwise, you can always ask questions or ask me. You can also search that group because there are literally years worth of challenges in there. And we've talked about story and telling our story and describing our current and desired situation dozens and dozens of times in there. So there's lots of references if you need help. Otherwise, you can always ask. That's what I'm here for. Have a great day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow, and we'll work through the confidence goal process through the end of the month. Have a great day.